Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video, I'll discuss the important question paper that is a model question paper for second semester B.Sc General English under Bangalore University, and it's a new syllabus. The question paper will have the weightage for 80 marks. The duration for the examination will be for 3 hours. So before that, let's know the syllabus. So you have here 8 lessons which have the weightage for 50 marks. Zen Koans, How Mushrooms First Grew, Leela's Friend, Let the Poem Wish Well for All, then The Mountain Lion, Chaturvarnya, Homesickness, The Face on the Wall. So 8 lessons, 50 marks weightage. Under grammar, you have verbal communication, non-verbal communication, reading comprehension, where you need to answer the unseen poetry questions and the unseen prose. Under grammar, you have here reported speech, that's called direct and indirect speech, dialogue writing, and the speech writing. So what's the skeleton here? So from the part A, this is a part A, 8 lessons, 2 marks, 5 questions, 5 marks, 4 questions, and 10 marks, 2 questions. Verbal, non-verbal communication, 5 marks. Unseen prose poetry within option, 5 marks. Synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, collocation, prefix, suffix, 5 marks. Reported speech, 5 marks. Dialogue writing, 5 marks. And speech writing, welcome speech, word of thanks, 5 marks. So let's begin it. So the very first section that you have here, prose and poetry, you have here 7 or the 8 lessons which have the weightage for 50 marks. To begin with, the very first section you have here, what is the first section you have here? You need to answer the 2 marks questions. So 8 questions will be given. You need to answer only the 5 questions. Question number 1. What did Hakuin remark when Nobushige drew his sword? When the Nobushige has taken out his sword, what is the remark of Hakuin? Hakuin said, Here open the gates of hell." Second question, what do men call as mushrooms according to the West African folk tale? According to the West African folk tale, how mushrooms first grew, men called them as a pure linen thread spread out in the sunshine by the ants as mushroom and gather it for food. Next question. 1 minute. Something is wrong here. Um, just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, now it's correct. Who is Leela's friend? What was his profession? Leela's friend is Siddha, who is a servant at Leela's household. Who should win according to the poem Let the Poem Wish Well for All? Who is going to win? Love and peace. Who does the speaker meet at the Lobo Canyon, and what are they doing? A pack of wolves. At the Lobo Canyon, the speaker met some group of wolves, and these wolves are howling in the canyon. Then the next question, what is Chaturvarnya according to its proponents? According to its proponents, Chaturvarnya is a system of social organization in Hindu society that divides people into 4 main classes or varnas based on their qualities or gunas rather than births. So these 4 varnas are Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. What was the narrator's sister suffering from in the poem Homesickness, and what were her symptoms? She was suffering from appendicitis, or some people say appendix also. Her symptoms include severe pain in the lower right side of her tummy, that's west, being sick, means when they feel vomiting, and refusing to eat, running a temperature, that means fever. The last question for 2 marks. What is this? What was the stranger searching in the story face on the wall, and why? Who was the stranger? The narrator was searching for Mr. Ormond Wall, a wealthy American gentleman whose face appeared on a patch of discoloration on the wall in the stranger's rented room. So these are the 2 marks questions where you need to opt only 5 questions. Now we have here questions for 5 marks, which you need to answer in a page. So my answers are just a simple answer. For more detailed answers, I'll suggest you to read the text or watch my videos on the summary of each and every lessons. All the videos links are in the description box. Now, 6 questions are given. You need to opt here only 4 questions, so you have plenty of choice. What is the poem Wish for All? The poem titled Let the Poem Wish Well for All by Mekhala Venkatesh expresses a heartfelt desire for universal equality and harmony. It reminds us that just as the blue sky covers everyone without discrimination, all human beings share a common origin from the same earth. The poem wishes for a world where barriers and hardships are broken down, allowing people from all walks of life, especially the poor and needy, to come together in friendship and cooperation. The poem emphasizes the importance of everyone sharing the fruits of the labor, promoting a sense of brotherhood and fairness. Question number, okay. Furthermore, the poem hopes for the fulfillment of basic human needs for all, such as shelter, nourishment for children, and the warmth of hope, which is symbolized by the dance golden rays. It also shows a kind of peaceful future where the earth's endless compassion nurtures everyone, and where love and peace wins win over the conflict and sorrow. Ultimately, the poem is a universal wish for well-being, kindness, and happiness to prevail in the lives of all people, inspiring a world of unity and joy. Second question, narrate the sequence of events that led to the linen being called mushrooms, how it has become mushrooms. So, this folk tale tells a chain of events explaining how mushrooms came to be, based on a story about debts being passed from one being to another person. It starts with two brothers who ran away from the debts and became robbers, but later decided to work honestly by farming. Unfortunately, a hungry bushfowl, a bird, hungry bushfowl, destroyed the seeds, and the brothers trapped the bird and blamed the bird for their debts. The bushfowl then transferred the debt to a silk cotton tree. When a hurricane destroyed its eggs, the tree, trying to repay the debt by producing silk cotton, lost it to an elephant because the elephant has crushed the whole crop. Then the elephant has passed it to the hunter. The hunter, after breaking his leg on a tree stump, passed the debt to the stump. White ants ate the stump and accepted the debt. The ants decided to repay the debt by making and selling woven linen thread. The linen spread out on ant hills is what people see and started to call such linen thread as the mushroom, which they gather as the food. So this is the story of mushrooms. How did Siddha become Leela's friend? Discuss their relationship. Siddha became Leela's friend gradually after Mr. Shiva Shankar decided to hire him. Leela's father decided to hire Siddha as a servant because Leela immediately liked him. Leela, a very little girl. From the very first moment Leela saw Siddha, she was filled with joy and insisted that he should stay. Though hired to do the chores like washing clothes, tending the garden, running errands, Siddha's gentle and playful nature, excuse me, playful nature quickly won Leela's heart. So their friendship blossomed as Siddha engaged with her in imaginative games like throwing a ball into the sky, pretending it touches the moon, which fascinated Leela and made the time together special and magical. The relationship was one of the genuine affection and companionship. Leela saw Siddha as more than just a servant. He became her playmate, storyteller, and protector. She clung to him constantly and eagerly shared stories and lessons with him, even trying to teach him to write. Siddha, though illiterate from a troubled background, showed kindness and patience towards Leela, entertaining her with the stories of animals, gods, and magic. Their bond was built on trust and innocence, with Leela's childlike acceptance and Siddha's caring presence, creating a deep connection that transcended social and economic differences. Fourth question: what are Dr. Ambedkar's argument against Chaturvarnya? So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar criticizes Chaturvarnya for being fundamentally flawed and impracticable. Although some defenders claim it as the basis on individual merit or guna rather than birth, Ambedkar argues that the traditional labels like Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra are inseparably linked to birth based hierarchy. These labels reinforce fixed social divisions, making it impossible to implement a system truly based on worth. Moreover, the system assumes people can be neatly classified into four distinct classes, which Ambedkar rejects as overly simplistic. He highlights that enforcing such a rigid structure would require continuous penalties because people would naturally resist confinement to a single class. Moreover, the system's failure to clearly address the role of women also shows its inconsistency and impracticality. Beyond these practical issues, Ambedkar condemns Chaturvaranya as a deeply unjust and harmful social order. Historically, it has oppressed the Shudras, denying them education, wealth, and arms, thus preventing any social mobility or resistance against exploitation. This systematic deprivation crippled the majority of Hindus, making social reform and revolution nearly impossible. Unlike in Europe, where oppressed groups had the means to fight for their rights, the lower classes in India were disarmed and uneducated, locked into eternal servitude. Ambedkar sees Chaturvaranya as a system that deadens the society and stops the progress, as it is shown by India's history of decline during its dominance, contrasting sharply with the periods like the Maurya Empire, when such rigid divisions were abolished and society thrived. What was the narrator's next question? What was the narrator's plan to escape his homesickness? Did it succeed? Elaborate. The narrator felt very homesick when he first went to boarding school and wanted to go back home. To do this, he planned to pretend that he had a sickness called appendicitis, which he had learned about by watching his sister suffering from appendix. He copied the same symptoms like holding stomach, saying he felt pain, so he was sick and he couldn't eat. He hoped the school staff would believe him and send him home. At first, his plan seemed to work because the school called his mother to come and take him away. But when the family doctor examined him carefully, he realized the narrator was faking, lying, because his stomach was normal, not hard like it would be with the real appendix. The doctor understood that the boy was just homesick and told him to be brave and stay at school. So even though the narrator's trick got him home for a very short time, he had to face for his homesickness and he had to learn to cope with it. Sixth question, the last question for 5 marks. Discuss the narrator's pursuit and meeting with the man whose face was in the wall. Okay. The narrator became very interested in the face he saw on the wall. After he got sick, the face seemed very real to him, and he felt like he had to find this man. He looked for the man in the busy places like meetings in the train stations. People thought he was acting strange, and the police watched him. Finally, the narrator saw the man in a taxi and followed him to a train station. The man was traveling with two women and a little girl. The narrator tried to talk to him, but he could not. He followed the man onto boat and asked for his card. The man gave the card to the narrator, but seemed scared and left quickly. The narrator became even more curious about the face on the wall after this. So that was the answer for 5 marks. Now we are moving to the 10 marks questions. Here you have the 4 questions, and out of 4 questions you need to opt only 2 questions. So you find here plenty of choices, right? Question number 1. How do the Zen Koans provide a non-intellectual, intuitive understanding of events and challenge assumptions and dualism? Explain. So we need to write here what's the meaning of Zen Koans. The koans are the paradoxical statements or questions which help us indulge in the non-intellectual, intuitive understanding and challenging assumptions and dualism. The koans emphasize mediation and mindfulness. It aims to provoke insight beyond rational thinking and cultivate mindfulness and awareness. According to tradition, Zen koans originated in ancient India when Gautam Buddha held up a flower and Mahakasyapa smiled. With this smile, he showed that he had understood the worldless essence of the dharma. This way, the dharma was transmitted to Mahakasyapa, the second patriarch of Zen. Zen traces its origin to India, but it was formalized in China. Chen, as it is known in China, was transmitted to Japan and took the root there in the 13th century. Now, cons help us understand the things beyond the logic by making us think deeply and feel the meaning instead of just analyzing it. For example, the story Cliffhanger. In the story Cliffhanger, the man is hanging from a cliff with mice chewing the vine. Instead of worrying or solving the problem logically, he notices a wild strawberry and eats it, enjoying the moment. This shows how Zen cons focus on experiencing the present directly rather than using intellectual thinking to fix the problems. Then cons also challenges the idea of opposites or dualism by showing that good and bad, heaven and hell are connected states of mind. So in the story The Gates of Paradise or The Gates of Heaven, when the samurai Nobushige gets angry at the Zen master Hakuin says, "Here open the gates of hell." When Nobushige calms down and sheathes the sword, keeps it inside, Hakuin says, "Here open the gates of paradise." So this example shows how anger and peace are two sides of the same experience, teaching us to look beyond simple opposites. Second question for 10 marks. Discuss the significance of the title Leela's Friend. How does it reflect the central relationship in the story, and what message does it convey about friendship across social divides? The title Leela's Friend is significant because it highlights a special bond between Leela and Siddha in the story. Leela, a very young girl of a well-off family, finds a true friend in Siddha, who is a servant working in a house. Despite Siddha's low social status, Leela enjoys his company very much. For example, she calls out to him to play. They have fun together throwing the ball. Siddha even tells her imaginative stories about touching the moon and making it follow them around, which fascinates Leela. This shows how their friendship is based on joy and trust, not on social differences. The title also shows the story's message about friendship across social divides. So when Siddha is accused of stealing Leela's gold chain, Leela trusts and supports him. She says, "Let him, it doesn't matter." Refuses to believe he would do something wrong. She wants Siddha to stay with them and play, showing her loyalty and care for him as a friend, not as a servant. So, through their relationship, the story teaches us that true friendship can go beyond social class and that kindness, trust, and affection are more important than social status. Therefore, the title emphasizes how friendship can break the barriers and bring people together no matter how different they are. Third question, comment upon the tragic fate of the mountain lion and the indifferent and cruel attitude of human beings. In the mountain lion meets a tragic fate when it is caught and killed by two men. The story describes the lion as a beautiful creature with a bright face, bright as frost, showing how special and graceful the animal is. The narrator finds the lion's hair in the rocky hills and feels a deep sadness because the lion will never return to that place. This loss represents how the wild beauty of nature is destroyed by human actions. The story highlights the loneliness left behind after the mountain lion's death, showing the importance of such creatures in the natural world. The story also shows the cruel and careless attitude of humans. The two men carry guns and trap the lion without hesitation, showing how humans use their power to harm animals. The narrator reflects on how men are the only animals to fear because they have the ability to kill for no good reason. This shows the difference of humans towards nature. Even though the lion was a beautiful and important part of the wilderness, the men kill it without thinking, and the narrator feels that this loss leaves a gap in the world. The story encourages us to think about how humans should respect and protect animals instead of destroying them. The last question for 10 marks. What are the three extraordinary things narrated by the stranger in the story The Face on the Wall, and why were they considered as the extraordinary? The very first one, the face on the wall looked exactly like a real man. The stranger saw a damp patch on his bedroom wall that looked exactly like a man's face. This was extraordinary because it's very usual for something like a random patch of dampness to form such a clear and detailed human face. Second thing, the name of the man matched to the place. The man whose face appeared on the wall was named Ormond Wall, and the face on the wall in the stranger's room. This connection between the name wall and the actual wall was very surprising and strange, making it seem like more than just a coincidence. The face disappeared exactly when the man died. When Ormond Wall died in a car accident, the face on the wall faded and disappeared at the same moment. So, this was considered extraordinary because it suggested a mysterious, unexplainable link between the patch on the wall and the real person. So these things were considered extraordinary because they go beyond normal explanation and seem to suggest a supernatural or mysterious connection between the stranger, the face on the wall, and the man named Ormond Wall. But in the end, the stranger admits he made up the story, which leaves everyone wondering about the nature of truth and fiction. So this is how the 50 marks questions paper we have discussed here, the part A, your 8 chapters. Now we are moving towards the language components, which have the weightage for 30 marks. Here the very first question will be from, now here you'll be given here 5 questions from the verbal communication and non-verbal communication. For detailed explanation, you can watch my exclusive video on verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Find all the links in the description box. First question from communication skills. Name any two differences between oral communication and written communication. The first difference is your medium. Oral communication uses spoken words, while written communication uses the written symbols or text. Second difference, speed. Oral communication is usually faster and more immediate, whereas written communication takes more time to compose and deliver. Now, second question, define proxemics. Proxemics is the study of how people use physical space in communication. It involves the distance individuals maintain between each other in social interactions, which can reflect relationships, comfort levels, and cultural norms. Name any two written communication forms: email, report writing, project writing, etc. Fourth question, kinesics. What is kinesics? Kinesics is the non-verbal form of communication which involves body language such as facial expressions, gesture, posture, and eye movement or eye contact. Last question. Give any two advantages of oral communication. Number one, oral communication allows for instant feedback and clarification. Oral communication is more personal and expressive, which can help build relationships and trust. So these are the 5 questions from verbal and non-verbal communication. Now part 2, the comprehension. Here you have two options. Two questions will be given here with an option. One unseen poem will be given and one unseen prose will be given, and you need to answer the questions based on it. So you can see the sample question. One unseen poetry is given, and based on the poetry you have the questions, and you need to answer those MCQ questions. Then or athwa, you have an option here. If you don't like to answer the questions based on the unseen poetry, you can read the passage and you can answer the questions given on the passage. So I am not focused much here because you need to practice. Next question, next third part, a short paragraph is given, and here few words will be highlighted or underlined or bold, and you need to answer the questions based on these few words. For example, find a synonym for sailors from the paragraph, right? For the sailors from the paragraph, so we find a synonym is here crew, CREW. Second, identify the antonym of peaceful. What's the antonym of peaceful? Turbulent. Third question, identify the homophones. So when we go through this one, we find two homophones. One is SEE, one is SEA. So like this, short paragraph will be given. Based on this paragraph, you will be asked here 3 questions for vocabulary building. Next, choose the correct word from the brackets and fill in the blanks. So the meeting took almost 5 hours. It was difficult to give attention or pay attention. So generally it's a collocation. So we say pay attention. Only 30% of the students who made the final examination or who took the final examination. So took the final examination. 2 marks collocation. Next question we have here. Yes, reported speech. So dialogues will be given. You need to convert those dialogues into the reported speech, direct to indirect speech. So Manoj and Naila are talking. So where should we go for our next vacation? I would love to visit Paris. Do you think we can afford it this year? If we save up for a few months, it's possible. Great. Let's start planning right away. So the answer is here. Manoj asked Naila where they should go for their next vacation. Naila replied that she would love to visit Paris. Manoj asked if she thought they could afford it that year. Naila responded that if they saved up for a few months, it was possible. Manoj said that it was a great, exclaimed that it was a great, and also added that they should start planning right away. Let's will change it to they should start. So this is how you need to solve, you need to convert into indirect or direct speech, reported speech. 5 marks, compulsory questions, no choice. Dialogue writing. Next question you have here, dialogue writing. So here I have not given here unfilled dialogue, I given the fulfilled dialogue. So here unfilled dialogue will be given with the blanks. So you need to read the previous dialogue and you need to fill the dialogues over there. 5 marks. Last question, with choice. Uh, Speech writing. Imagine your college invites Sudha Murthy to preside over the Women's Day celebration. Draft a vote of thanks on this occasion. So generally we have to start the speech with the greetings. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to thank Sudha Murthy, right? So you need to thank, and at the end you need to say thanks to everybody for giving him or me a chance. So vote of thanks, or maybe in an option, welcome speech also. So you can watch my special videos on speech writing. The links are available in the description box. So this is how I have tried my best to solve the model question paper of second semester B.Sc General English under Bangalore University, BU. So if you have any questions, any doubt, you can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com, and also see the description box, the playlist. You'll get all the videos, links, all the video summary, question answers, and also subscribe my channel, because before one day of the examination, I'm going to post the last minute revision. That's going to help you a lot. So thank you so much. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.